All right. Good afternoon to those of you on the East Coast. Good morning to those of you on the West Coast. Welcome to This Week in Pop Culture, the show in which we give you the goings on in the past said week when it comes to the world of pop culture. Whether we're talking about local news, film and TV news, sports news, tech news, theater news, and the like, we try to bring you up to speed so that way you are not left in the wind. I'm your host, Brandon Choi, co-creator of Movers and Shakers Unlimited. And as always, I'm not going to be alone in talking about the said topics that have happened this past said week when it comes to pop culture. So my co-host will be joining me momentarily. But with that, I wanted to just highlight some of the things that we will have on today's show. As you well know, we are just but a couple of days away from the holidays for what would we have with whatever you celebrate. So in lieu of that, in lieu of the holiday season, thought that it would be fun to not talk about those said things that are awesome about the holidays. So don't get me wrong, there are some awesome things about the holidays, but to reflect on those things that are pet peeves of ours, things that are irritating for us when it comes to the holiday season. So I'm curious to know if some of the pet peeves that Spillz and I have, our top five, if you will, are some things that you guys can say that you too have in your top five when it comes to pet peeves, or maybe you have some others. So I'll be interested to see which ones you guys share in the comments. Feel free to do so. But before we get there, because that's going to be topping off our show as our main story, we did have some other things that did go down this past said week. We did unfortunately have an untimely passing that happened this past said week. And we also, on lighter news, we had some film and TV news that also went down. So, as I said, we'll have Spillz joining us momentarily. But with that, I'm going to be able to dive into our first story. And as always, if you are joining us live, thank you so much for joining us live. Really do appreciate it. But if you are joining us after the fact, we appreciate that too. And just know that once this live airing has concluded, the efforts will be made to timestamp accordingly on each of the stories that we'll be talking about on this episode. So that way you can fast forward or rewind back to those said moments that we talk about on this week's show. So with that, I'm gonna hop into our first story, and unfortunately, it's gonna start off on some somber news. So give me a moment here while I bring that up. We begin this week's show with our Legacies Remembered segment as tragedy struck on Sunday as actor-director Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle Reiner were found deceased in their home due to a homicide, unfortunately. According to The Hollywood Reporter, the couple's son, Nick Reiner, was arrested and booked as a suspect that same day. Per TMZ, it will later be confirmed yesterday that he was in fact responsible and had been behaving erratically due to a change in his meds related to schizophrenia. As a result, per sources over at TMZ, Nick will likely plead not guilty by reason of insanity in the case that follows. Now, when we're talking about Rob Reiner, it goes without saying in terms of his body of work, whether we're talking about his directing credits, when we think of The Princess Bride, when we think of Misery, when we think of A Few Good Men, The American President, and The Bucket List. Not only that, if we're also talking about his acting credits as well, I'm sure for many of you that recognition of Mr. Reiner came by way of All in the Family, based on his iconic portrayal as a meathead who was an antagonist of Archie Bunker in that said show. Let's see what else. We also have Dr. Morris Pac-Man, for those that remember him in the sparring that he had with Goldie Hawn in The First Wives Club. We have Tom Hanks's pal in Sleepless in Seattle, the father of Zoe Deschanel in the Fox sitcom New Girl, and even as the restaurant consultant, Albert Schnurr on the Bear. So, and I mean, I could go on and on when we're talking about directing credits and acting credits. So many things. It's unfortunate that we have, you know, a circumstance like this, and you know, even more tragic that we've come to find out that it was at the hands of a relative was responsible for not only, you know, his passing, but also the passing of his wife as well. I don't know what your thoughts, you know, out there are on this said matter. As was mentioned in the story, there is some there's appears to be some psychological, you know, elements when it comes to the person who's responsible, that being their son, when it comes to schizophrenia. You never want to, as I said, have a situation, you know, like this happen. So condolences to family and friends, and I also, you know, want to get, you know, Spillz takes on this as well. He should be joining us, as I said, momentarily, because I know that he's also a fan of much of what Mr. Reiner has, you know, accomplished in his illustrious career. I went into the credits that he had as a filmmaker and as an actor, but you know, just to take it a step further, he was also the co-founder of Castle Rock Entertainment. So, you know, for those that know, Castle Rock Entertainment is the production company behind a slew of iconic films. And just going down the list, we have, when we're talking about Castle Rock Entertainment, City Slickers, The Shawshank Redemption, Waiting for Guffman, Miss Congeniality, Best in Show, Michael Clayton, and Seinfeld. Like, if we're talking about entertainment over a generation, even, you know, we could even say even beyond that, he has in some shape or form had his had his thumb on, had his fingers involved in when we're talking about those said projects, whether we're talking about on the small screen or on the big screen. So again, unfortunate to, you know, have him and his wife pass away, him being 78 and his wife being 70. So with that, I wanted to, you know, move on from that segment. Again, starting on the show, slightly somber, unfortunate to have, you know, him and his wife pass away, but condolences to his family as well as his friends. But we're going to move on to a lighter topic. So again, condolences to Rob Reiner and his passing of Rob Reiner and his wife. Condolences to family and friends. We're going to move on to our film and TV talk, as we did have some film and TV news that did go down. Had quite a bit, actually. So bear with me as I get into that. I'm going to start on Wednesday. And this was in an interview with the Hollywood Reporter that the Hollywood Reporter had with filmmaker James Cameron. In the interview, Cameron revealed that he was working on a Terminator film, or say that he is working on a Terminator film. And when describing where that stands or where the process is in that said film, new film in the franchise that he's working on, he had the following to say to the Hollywood Reporter. Once the dust clears on Avatar in a couple of months, I'm going to really plunge into that. There are a lot of narrative problems to solve. The biggest is, how do I stay ahead enough of what's really happening to make it science fiction? When pressed further in talking about the premise of this new Terminator film that he's working on, he replied with, I'm working on it. And when asked about whether there was any involvement with Schwarzenegger, who, you know, many of us know is synonymous with that franchise, he had the following to say as well. I can safely say he will not be in it. It's time for a new generation of characters. I insisted Arnold had to be involved in 2019's Terminator Dark Fate, and it was a great finish to him playing the T-800. There needs to be a broader interpretation of Terminator and the idea of a time war and superintelligence. I want to do new stuff that people aren't imagining. Moving on from that, on Friday, director Destin Daniel Cretton announced via his social media that filming had wrapped on his latest film. That film, as you can see here, being Spider-Man Brand New Day, the fourth installment of the Spider-Man franchise in the MCU. In talking about Brand New Day, we, of course, have Holland returning as Peter Parker after Peter Parker from Queens accidentally broke open the multiverse in the 2021 installment known as No Way Home, and is forced to make the difficult decision to make the entire world, including his closest friends, MJ and Ned, forget his identity. The Sony Marvel movie will also include Mark Ruffalo, who will be starring as, of course, the original Avenger Bruce Banner, aka the Hulk. Will also include John Bernthal, who will be portraying Frank Castle, aka the Punisher. We also have Tremel Tillman, and we have the Bears' Lisa Colin-Zayas, and we have Michael Mando returning as the Scorpion from the first installment of this iteration of the Spider-Man franchise. And we also have Marvin Jones III, who will be entering the franchise as Tombstone. If that weren't impressive enough in terms of this ensemble that we have with this newest installment, we also have Stranger Things as Sadie Sink, who will be playing an undisclosed but much speculated role. Brand New Day will swing in the theaters on July 31st. It is Cretton's second MCU movie, of course, following 2021 Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. He was, if you guys weren't aware, he was previously set to direct the now scrapped Avengers film known as Kang Dynasty. Kang's Dynasty is now, as we know, Avengers Doomsday, but he is also the co-creator and one of the directors of the upcoming Wonder Man series that will be arriving on Disney Plus on January 27th. As I said a lot, so I want to get into the last one before we hop into, talking about these said stories. So just yesterday, as you can see here, the co-lead of DC Studios, James Gunn, who's also the director of Superman and its upcoming sequel, Superman Man of Tomorrow, announced just yesterday that actor Lars Ettinger had been cast as the villainous Brainiac in the superhero sequel. So with that, a lot of things that have gone on when we're talking about film and TV. My thoughts, let's see, if we're starting, in the order in which, I discussed each of these said stories, we could start first with Terminator. And while it's awesome to hear that James Cameron is in fact putting his efforts into doing a brand new Terminator film, I don't know about you guys out there, but when we're talking about the Terminator franchise, don't get me wrong, I love this franchise, but considering what we got in the last couple installments, I would argue the what was it, Dark Fate, that I mentioned in the when I was introducing the story. I feel like Dark Fate was a decent installment, but it was kind of too little too late when we're talking about all the installments that came before it. There were a lot of attempts in terms of us moving this franchise forward, and I feel like we need to take a break on it. Maybe you guys out there may feel differently, but when it comes to Terminator, and don't get me wrong, I love Terminator, I feel like we need a break from Terminator. I feel like we need even more time away from that franchise before we decide to dust it off and to do a new installment. And this, even considering the fact that you have the architect of this franchise, the guy who who set it all in motion to get this franchise started, I still don't know if that's going to be enough for this franchise to get revitalized. I feel like there needs to be some time that passes before we decide to continue on with it. If you guys feel differently, feel free to let me know in the comments. If you guys are excited about James Cameron returning to the franchise and working on a new installment, you guys can let me know below. But as I said, as much as I love the franchise, I feel like even despite the fact that you have its primary architect returning to work on a potential new film, I'm not sure if that's going to be enough to kind of move things along or change my perception of the fact that the franchise may just need to be out of commission, so to speak, for a while before we decide to revisit it again. Because just as you saw, as I mentioned in that story, let's see, Dark Fate was 2019, so that was what, 6 years ago. That's not that far off from our current time now. I feel like it needs to be about, we need another 15, 20 years or so. But before I dive into our other stories, I want to welcome our co-host who has joined us. Let me see if I can bring him on now. I love the ugly sweater, Mr. Spillz. Let me bring you on now. What's going on, sir?
Happy holidays, ladies and gentlemen. How's it going?
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So before I get into my thoughts on the other stories there, I wanted to Spills um, ask your thoughts on the passing of Rob Reiner, and I know that, like me, you were a fan of many of those films that he was responsible for, whether it was films that he had on the acting side in terms of his credits, or even those films that he was behind the camera on. So I wanted to be able to give you the floor to be able to share your thoughts on his filmography. So let me see if I can get, we lost him here just for a moment. Let me see if I can get him back. All right, give us a moment, folks. I think we have him back here. But yeah, your thoughts on Rob Reiner and the passing of Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle Reiner.
To start the holiday season off with a horrible situation like what happened with Rob Reiner, his wife, and their family is horrific. Obviously a great body of work. I watched, in memorandum, I watched The Princess Bride with my son and my partner this weekend. It was very nice. One of the all-time greats. Um, you know, so many quotables, so many things that you say and I say during our daily like life that you don't
Yeah,
realize is from his work. So,
yeah,
you know,
inconceivable.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So,
just
but yeah, I mean, it's crazy, man. It's absolutely nuts for to have, as I mentioned, this situation and the circumstances behind the situation with it, being someone close to them. So unfortunate. But moving on to lighter news, I was getting into. We were kind of in the crux of our film and TV talk, and talking about some of the stories that we had going on there, whether we had the new Terminator film or even the news of the latest Spider-Man film wrapping up its production with its shooting schedule, and now even the news with who we now know will be our Brainiac in the upcoming Superman film. So, I guess we could start with Terminator. Your thoughts? Do you feel like we need another Terminator film?
um James looks like James Cameron is attached to it, so possibly we can use another one, but with other things I've said in this show is I don't want to see another sequel that we didn't ask for and don't really need. I feel like we've explored the future with the Terminator. And also, we're past the future. It was supposed to, Judgment Day was 1997. That was 30 years ago, ladies and gentlemen. We don't really believe that the Terminators are coming. Although AI is here, so maybe they can make a wrinkle where the AI is a nonsensical one. Maybe they could do one where the Terminators are kind of silly for the LOLs. That would be interesting, perhaps. Um, I think that 2026 is going to be a great year for movies. It's really
It's really shaping up.
chalking up to be one of the strongest ones in a while, especially
Yeah.
with everything that's happened with the Netflix merger, Netflix and Warner Brothers merger. I would think that they need to come in hard because it's people with money in the water. So I think it's definitely something we need to. I'm excited for. I'm interested to see the new Brainiac character. He looks like he has hair in this picture, but it looks like he need to come on home. It looks like he's doing a comb over here. So I don't think I think that this is also like a life actualization thing where he realizes that he needs to take that hair off. So I don't know. How do you feel about the Brainiac character?
So I tell you what, I'll get into the Spider-Man stuff first and say that I am excited about us getting a another Spider-Man film. The Marvel films, we can be honest, has been very middling at best, and when we're talking about that said that overall franchise with the MCU, I'm I'm rooting for them to kind of get to get it together. We do have, as I mentioned with the story, that the director of this film is also the co-creator of the upcoming Disney Plus series, the Wonder Man series. Um, I haven't been incredibly impressed by what I've seen with the Wonder Man series, but I want to be able to give it a shot because I'm rooting for the MCU to get back to its run of having great films. There were a couple of series and a couple of movies in that mix that I feel were decent. Whether we're talking about the what is it, the Wakanda Forever. I did enjoy Wakanda Forever. I did enjoy some of the TV shows like WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier. A lot of the elements from Falcon and Winter Soldier were able to carry over to their most recent cinematic outing, which was cool. And it even bled over into Thunderbolts. Who knew? So that was a cool element as well. We do have a lot of interesting pieces, components when we're talking about this said franchise. Whether we're talking about the Hulk, whether we're talking about the Punisher, and we still don't have. I know there's been a lot of rumors out there of who Sadie Sink is playing. My hopes is that she is in fact playing Jean Grey because I feel like she would be a terrific Jean Grey, but it has yet to be confirmed of who she's in fact playing. I know there's been a lot of speculation out there, whether she's playing Jean Grey, whether she's playing another member of the Spider-Man family, or even another character that may not be a part of the Spider-Man family. Who knows? So it'll be fascinating to see, how she factors into the story and who she in fact is playing. Fingers crossed, like I said, that it is in fact Jean Grey, because I feel like she would be a terrific Jean Grey, and she's at an age where a lot of the actors, if we're going to be post the two Avengers films that we're getting, if we are in fact getting the X-Men and mutants following Secret Wars, following Doomsday and Secret Wars, I could see her playing Jean Grey, and we need to have actors who logically could play the X-Men for another decade or so. And so I feel like she is young enough where I can see us follow her portrayal as that character for another decade. And from what we have seen in other works of hers, of course, chief of which being Stranger Things, she's demonstrated that she has the chops necessary to be able to portray a character of that weight and of that importance. You may feel differently, I don't know, but again, this is all under the assumption that she is in fact playing Jean Grey. But if I'm getting into your question of what is it the DC movies, it's great for her to be able to, or great that we now have confirmation of who we have playing Brainiac. I love that they have an actor who is not a name. He let me change that. He is an actor that people know, but I feel like it's not someone, at least with American audiences, that they already have associated with certain characters. So it would be one thing if we had like someone like Tom Cruise or The Rock or let me see, Bautista or let's see, what's another actor, Gary Oldman playing Brainiac. And don't get me wrong, it would be interesting with all of those names I just gave playing this villainous character. But at the same time, I feel like when we're talking about those said characters, it also comes with some level of baggage, because there is a kind of an expectation of what you're going to get when you have those said actors playing this character. So to have someone who's not maybe as recognizable, I do like that. So I don't know how you feel, when it comes to this actor's casting.
Yeah, I think that casting unrecognizable people has worked for a lot of these castings. We go
Yeah, and I
back to the
mean,
people that we know now.
yeah.
They were the people before. There are some people obviously that have names before they get casted for a lot of these characters, but I think that it's better that we cast people who can commit to them than someone who is already overcommitted.
Well, I feel like
Yeah.
they could also grow into that role, and it's easier to accept them in certain roles if you don't already associate them with other, characters. So I feel like that at least that's for me, how I feel when you're casting someone who's not as recognized. Because I feel like if we're talking about Tom Cruise, as great as he is, we already associate not only characters but mannerisms to Tom Cruise. Same thing when it comes to Dwayne Johnson. Let me see some other actors that are out there. I already brought up Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman is a terrific actor. It's just that if we're talking about a character that we know has to be around for a period of time, I don't know if he would be willing to commit to doing a character for another 10 or 15 years. I don't know if he would be willing or interested in doing another character, that same character, for 10 or 15 years. I would assume that he would want that challenge of having the freedom to do other characters as well. But maybe you guys out there feel differently. You can let us know down below whether we're talking about the prospect of a new Terminator film. I feel like that franchise is obsolete at this point, pun intended. But I will say, the fact that we have its original creator, its original architect, interested in doing another installment, that would be the only slight wrinkle that would slightly gauge my interest. But even then, considering where the franchise is right now, I'm still somewhat skeptical. When we're talking about Spider-Man, I'm ready for the MCU to get back to its heyday of being awesome. So hopefully we can get back on track with this new Spider-Man film, and we can kind of recalibrate that momentum to the MCU being great again. And then with the DCU, with the DC cinematic universe that we currently have, the rebooted one, so far things seem to be on the right track in terms of what we've had in regards to television shows as well as films. don't get me wrong. We've had some slight, I feel like some slight hiccups here and there. One of which being, I don't know if you finished the series Spills, but the recent, the I want to say the series we now know is the series finale of Peacemaker. I felt like it
Oh, no
was somewhat,
spoilers. I haven't
yeah.
seen the
I'll
season
just say I
finale
just
yet
feel
of
like it was
Peacemaker.
anticlimactic, and Gunn has shared in interviews that there's a reason behind that, but I still feel like there needed to be somewhat of a ending there if we know that it's going to be a series finale, even if it is connected to some cinematic films. So that's the only like slight hiccup that I can think of offhand. But otherwise, like overall, a lot of those projects have been great. Whether we're talking about Creature Commandos, whether we're talking about Suicide Squad, whether we're talking about Peacemaker, whether we're talking about even what we have with Superman and the Supergirl film also looks interesting as well. I know I had my concerns of it, feeling like somewhat Guardians of the Galaxy-esque, but I'm still willing to give it a shot. So we'll see. But any last thoughts before we, get into the topic of the hour? I'm gonna hand it over
I
to
don't
you.
have any last thoughts.
Okay.
I don't have any last thoughts.
All right, cool. So as I said, guys, let us know in the comments what your thoughts are on the said topics that we, talked about just now. Whether we're talking about Terminator, whether we're talking about Spider-Man, or the new Superman film. So MCU, DCU, and then the Terminator franchise, respectively. Let us know how you feel about these stories. But with that, we are going to get into our main topic, which we talked about here, which is the holiday season, with the holiday season being, or holidays being right around the corner. Um, Figured it would be fun to get dive into some pet peeves that we have respectively. I didn't get into any honorable mentions, but I know my co-host Spills did have one. And Spills, I'm going to be honest with you. This actually took me a minute to really think about because, let me see, a lot of the things that I would have otherwise put as these pet peeves, I'm at a stage in my life that I have allowed myself not to have to deal with video these things that would have been pet peeves. Um, you know, there's some things, don't get me wrong, not a parent. I know you are. There's some things that I'm able to bypass with that can be pet peeves. Kids are awesome. I love kids. It's just that some things that come with that, I know that it would be a pet peeve of mine in terms of what you need to do in order to create that experience. I will say that. But I will hand it off to you, sir, with your honorable mention. So take the floor. You have the
All
floor, sir.
right. This honorable mention goes specifically out to my partner Teresa and my brother because they both have birthdays that are within that same pay period, same week sometimes, some instances. Um
Well, this is your number
of
five. Go into your honorable mention. Let's get
That's
your
my
honorable
honorable
mention
mention. My
first.
honorable mention
Okay.
is you know, if your birthday is close to Christmas and they try to put those two things together, where they try to get you a one for a gift, they like, well, we got you this really big gift, and we combine that birthday and Christmas. I've seen it for years. One year, my mom got my brother something big for his birthday, and she got him binoculars for Christmas. Oh, that was a sad day. Oh, that was a sad day. My mom was like, but they're nice binoculars. My brother was like 9 years old. He didn't want no binoculars. He's not amateur bird watcher or something like that, ladies and gentlemen. I don't understand why you would think that that was a good gift, mom. Not to drag on my mom, but I get it. His birthday was close, and they just try to combine those two gifts. So, mm-mm-mm.
I hear you. I hear you. All right. Well, I'm gonna give you the floor because we're gonna go back and forth with our numbers starting from 5 to 1. So your number five is what?
Okay, my number five. At my niece, I just was at church with my father. My niece offered me some of this, and I said yuck. But when I went over there, she wasn't talking about what this is, but it's fruitcake, ladies and gentlemen. Why? Is that still a thing? It's very thick. Sometimes it comes in a tin can. Who wants a cake that comes in metal? No one wants cake that comes in metal. I don't understand how we still this fruit cake thing is still a thing, but year in and year out, they come wrapped in very hard cellophane plastics and other things. It's not good. I don't know if you're a fruitcake person. I think I remember when one of the royals, either Harry or the bald one, got married. They had a fruitcake on their wedding,
William.
and I was like, why did they have a fruitcake on their wedding? But fruitcake still is a thing. I don't know what's going on. People like dates and random nuts in their fruit in their cake. I don't get it.
No, no, I got you. I got you. I can feel you. I can feel you on what we have with the fruit cake. I'm not a big fan of fruit cake. Oh, okay. Here we go. Sorry, lost me there for a second, but I get what you're saying. Your issues with fruitcake. I'm not a big fan of fruitcake. I love cakes, but to be able to put like different fruits in it, like no. If you want to put what is it the extract of that said fruit, okay, fine. You want to put orange extract for your orange flavored cake, okay, fine. You want to put extract of vanilla in your said cake, okay, fine. But if it's literally the fruit in the cake, that consistency, yeah, I can't rock with that. So I completely get your issue, the pet peeve with the fruit cake.
It's cake that you could buy at Marshalls. You should never eat food out of Marshalls. Like my mom, she would sometimes get them and give them to people. I'm like, Mama, you buying food out of Marshalls to give to people. No one wants that food out of Marshalls. Never ever.
Nah, I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. Absolutely. So Spills is number 5. His pet peeve for the holidays is fruitcake. How about you guys out there? Do you agree with that sentiment? I absolutely agree with that sentiment. I love this option here. I'm gonna start off somewhat somber, so bear with me. There's empty seats, y'all.
Oh
Um,
man.
we, I know. I'm gonna start off. I'm gonna start off a little somber, y'all. But yeah, just empty seats. Empty seats when we're talking about close family, friends, what have you. That over the course of the year, unfortunately, no longer with us, and we have those memories and those certain moments with those said family, with those said close friends. Maybe they are a part of the routine that you have with the holidays. Maybe they're the ones who normally host those said holidays. That specific family member, that specific friend. So it kind of allows you to reassess the entire year, but it can somewhat be a bummer to not have those said parties with you at the tail end of that year. So that would be my number 5, is some empty seats. So I promise you everything else will be a lot lighter, but that is my number 5. So Spills, what is your number 4?
Okay, ladies and gentlemen. My number four is, and this is, I just came from church to see, the people from church. But midnight mass, ladies and gentlemen, Jesus was the first person that you had to tell at midnight that it was his birthday. You had to celebrate with him at midnight. I don't know why it is that we supposed to be up at midnight, but like that takes several hours of sleep away from Santa Claus to be delivering these presents. Why do we have the midnight mass, ladies and gentlemen? You're sleeping in midnight mass, like you're already sleeping in church. You're already sleeping in church, but to put the wrinkle on, we coming in here at 11 o'clock. We got to stay in here till midnight. Some people start at like 9 o'clock and go all the way to midnight. You be in church all night. I don't know if you are very religious. I know that you went to the Catholic schools. I know that the Catholics do the midnight mass. I know
They
the
do.
Catholics do the
They
midnight
do.
mass.
They do. And when it comes to Christians, we love our mass. What can you say? So um, when it comes to this, I get where you're coming from. I would say I've done the what is it, the mass that's on that they normally have on Christmas Eve. It's not been the one that carries over into Christmas. Or what I've done is actually gone on Christmas, but it wasn't like right at the, at the change of the clock. It's been like later on in the day. And I mean, I've been known to also do it for New Year's too. So, but again, like yeah, that there is something about that to do it at the right there at the turn of the clock on that day. So I don't know how you guys feel out there. Um, when it comes to the mass, like do what you do. For me personally, I have no issue going with mass. It's just more so the time of day. So like I can get you, I can feel you on that of it being right there
Midnight.
at midnight.
And then people be looking at you crazy because you sleepy. It's like I like especially when I was a little kid. People be, ugh, your mom or your dad elbow you real hard, make you wake back up. Like why y'all got me here then? I'm gonna be asleep any other time of the year. I gotta stay. I gotta go to bed by 8:30. Now we in here doing hymnals and singing Silent Night at 11:58.
No, no, I hear you. And
And then
apology.
they have the nerves to have the lights real low in the church, so it gets even sleepier. It gets even sleepier. They turn the lights down.
I hear you. I hear you, man. So number 4, once again for Spills was Midnight Mass, and you guys already got spoiled on mine. I apologize. Mine hit up there a little early, but I'm gonna show it again right now. My number 4, Don't Call Me a Grinch, Christmas Caroling. Like I'm sorry, I take issue where sometimes you have those said folks who they have the Christmas spirit, and there ain't nothing wrong with that. You have the holiday spirit, but the fact that sometimes those same said folks take it upon themselves to say, "Oh, I'm going to sing in front of sing in front of your door and bring you some Christmas cheer." If I did not ask for that said Christmas cheer, if I did not ask for that said holiday cheer, then please go away. like it, I'm sorry if it sounds like I'm being a Grinch here, Spills, but maybe you love the Christmas caroling, but the Christmas caroling drives me nuts.
Oh, so in other words, ladies and gentlemen, Brandon cannot. He don't have no. He can't hold no note. That's what he's saying because your boy over here sounds like a young Barry White when he be singing. So any chance I can get to show off my singing skills, I'll definitely do that. Christmas caroling is not that bad. I don't. It's only time of year that we do still sing. Any other time, everybody's got to be quiet. I disagree, Brandon. Talking about some leave you alone. When's the last time somebody caroled at your house? I don't think you've been caroled recently. I don't even feel
Well,
like
I'm
it's
just
really a thing
saying, like, if
anymore.
you're
I feel
going
like it's
to
the
events,
homeowners.
I
Yeah.
know, but I'm saying also if you're going to events, let me include the idea that if you're going to Christmas events, sometimes is as I said, there's nothing wrong with having holiday spirit, what have you, but don't try to force people to have to listen to Christmas songs, which is going to, I'm telling you, is going to make a repeat appearance in this list. I promise you, because when it comes to holiday songs, they drop me up the wall too. So
Oh,
just saying.
that's. I disagree, ladies and gentlemen. I live for the Christmas songs. I used to work in the mall, and they would play them
Oh
all day
man,
long, and that was rough. But I still love the
condolences,
Christmas songs.
condolences. You got it. You
Last
got it.
Christmas, you gave me my
You got
heart.
it,
The
dog.
very next day,
You
you
got it,
gave it
dog.
away.
Nah. So how about you guys? Like I said, I don't want to sound like a Grinch over here that I that I can't really stand Christmas caroling, but maybe you guys feel the same way. Maybe you guys
Bah
still like the
humbug. That's what you
holidays and you
sound
can't
like
just
so
can't stand
far.
Christmas caroling. So
Hmm.
um, just let me know. But I'm gonna hand you the floor, Spills. You're number 3, sir.
Okay, my number 3. This is something that happens, especially
Oh
to my
gosh.
friends that
Oh
don't
man,
live
I
in
know how
town.
this is gonna go. But go ahead.
You show up to the Christmas party, everybody happy to see you, but then you got to talk to the drunk uncle slash aunt. You got to talk to them, and they got to start talking to you about all their crazy conspiracy theories, why the reptilians about to take over. They want to tell you about their political views and why it's okay for certain things that have long since gone out of style to still be okay. They might drop a hard R in there. I just, I enjoy the drunk uncle talk. And the thing that's crazy about the drunk uncle is sometimes the drunk uncle isn't even drunk. He's thinking these thoughts sober. So to me, to have conversations with people who, if you were not blood related to, you would not talk to them. You would not go talk to them about their opinions. Because like you don't talk to the people you like about their opinions. Like, when's the last time you asked your friend, hey, talk to me about your politics? I would love to hear about that. Never. You never hear that. But drunk uncle loves to tell you about his politics. So to me, Brandon said empty seats. That was sad, but sometimes them seats be full, and that's even sadder.
Hey, go
So
ahead. Wow.
I just
Wow.
know that love the drunk uncles. Obviously, he probably gave you your first alcoholic beverage. He might have let you drive a cool car to prom or some sort. He may have had your back in that way, but drunk uncles be drunk uncling, and
Drunk
it's bad
uncling. I gotta
times.
remember that. Wow. Wow. So I'm gonna have to say I see where you're coming from because like it could be a drunk uncle, it could be a drunk aunt. For me, I would just say a relative in general who has had too much to drink, and because they've had too much to drink, all of those inhibitions are out the door of what they have on their mind. Which again, when I was talking about at the top of trying to think about a lot of these said, pet peeves, a lot of them like catch me
See,
10 years, catch me maybe 10 years ago, I would have put myself through a lot of these pet peeves and kind of suffered through a lot of these pet peeves. But, as you get older, you make a conscious decision of, am I going to put up with that? No, I'm not going to put up with that. And so now I really had to think hard of what are some still existing things that are pet peeves because a lot of them I've managed to bypass. Uh, so the Christmas caroling is still a thing because I still go to Christmas events and things or holiday events. Uh, but when we're talking about that your number three, I still go to I go to family functions, I go to friend functions, and sometimes unfortunately you have to be selective about those said functions. So
hmm
and because of that you can have some peace there based on what said function you make the decision to go to. When you're younger, I feel like there's a larger pressure to do so because it is not really in your hands when you're
for
growing
sure.
up. But when you become an adult, you have a little more say of saying, you know what? Nah. You know what?
He wore
It
that red
won't.
hat last year, man. I don't
Nah.
want to see that hat ever again, man. He ruined it for me. I don't
So
care how good the mac and cheese is over there.
I don't know, man. Good mac and cheese is hard to come by. I don't know.
I
That
mean, that's what you just said.
I
Drunk
don't
uncle
know.
will
Yeah.
will
But
prevent you.
yeah, I feel you. I feel you. So there you guys go. For Spillman, it is the drunk uncle. Maybe you guys have something different in terms of your pet peeve. That was his number three. So what do we have thus far? We went just to go down the list of what we had with our pet peeves. I know Spillman, he had combining Christmas and birthdays as an honorable mention. I get that because I know that some folks. I know some folks personally who they have birthdays close to the holidays, and I couldn't imagine having my birthday near a holiday because I'm sure there came times where they had to combine those said holidays with their birthday, and it wasn't they weren't big fans of. Number five for Spills, we had a fruit cake. Maybe you guys enjoy fruit cake. I do not enjoy fruitcake either, so I can stand by that number five that Spill had for number five for me. Like I said, it started off a little somber. It was empty seats, relatives, friends, and family, that are no longer with us. That maybe you recently had passed in that said year. That this is the first holiday which you don't have them. Maybe they hosted those said events. I know for me, there have been ones that they normally host the holidays, so it'll be different this year of not having them there. getting a little lighter. Spills, he had midnight mass. No issues with mass, but I will say midnight mass is a lot. Like I would rather go later on in the day than it is right there at the drop of the hat at the turn of the clock at midnight. Um, I was a little bit of a Grinch for number four of being of saying Christmas caroling. I have issues with Christmas caroling. I'm not a big fan of Christmas caroling. I enjoy the holiday, but I feel like a lot of times that element is kind of forced upon people when they're not really, in the mood to really have that element included in their holiday celebration. But I feel like because folks feel like they know better, a lot of times they kind of force that tradition on people, which I think that's where the dislike of it comes from. And then Spills just now with number three, he had drunk uncle. So let's see, my number three, I kind of alluded to just now, and I would say who's hosting, because who's hosting, I feel like has a very major impact on how the celebration is going to be. Who's hosting includes a whole bunch of factors. Who's hosting is going to include, okay, that's going to determine who's coming. It's going to determine what you're going to have at that said celebration. It's going to also include the uh, uh, the logistics of how you're going to get there. Maybe one is closer to you than another. There's so many different matters of that. Then you also have the personal matter or the emotional matter of it, because some people may get up in their feelings of, you know, them having the event. They want to be able to host the event, and then someone else also wants to host the event. Someone may feel a certain way that they're not at that said celebration. So like there's so many different things emotionally, logistics wise. Let me see, physically of who's going to be physically there. So I feel like for me, who's hosting is my number three. I know we just lost Spills for a second. He should be back with us in a moment. But how do you guys feel about that? Maybe you guys have a different number three. Okay, I think we have Spills back. So Spills, my number three, as I mentioned, is who's hosting. I feel like there's so many different components of that emotionally, because people get in their feelings about who's hosting.
Yeah.
Logistics wise, how you going to get there? Maybe it's really far. Maybe it's not that far. Maybe it affects what things are going to be there, who's going to be there physically. So your thoughts?
Who all over there is a very black sentence, and it's a very important sentence. I don't feel like we ask who all over there enough. We got to
Hey,
ask who all over there.
You're number three.
Like,
It,
hey, that drunk uncle might be there. He might start talking to you about how the
some
original
wild mess. Some wild
now
mess.
was in the Grand Canyon, and you'd be like,
Some
"Come on,
wild
man.
mess, man.
Come on, man. Come on, man." So I don't know. I think the who's hosting is very true, because sometimes you go to people's houses and their house may not, their house may come back with you. So you don't want the house to come back with you.
Hey,
Like, hey, this house, I don't want to go
hey,
to that house.
hey,
The
hey.
house is coming back.
Y'all know what we talking about. So just saying. But I didn't even think about that. You right on that one too. So yeah, that's my number three is who's hosting. So Spills, I'm gonna give you the floor, sir. What is your number two?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, my number two holiday beef and pet peeve is when people clearly regift old or used items. Regifting, first of all, is bad. But if like that cover smells like your home, why does this book smell like your house? It didn't come from Borders. Why do these toys look gently used? What's going on here? Half a bottle of the good stuff. Why is it only half? Where'd the other half go, Joe? So to me, people like to regift and give you things. And they'd be like, "Oh, I was thinking about you. Not hard enough. You weren't thinking hard enough about me. I need you to think about me enough that it's not a secret." So regifting and used and old items is a very big pet peeve of mine.
Okay,
I don't know
fair
how
enough.
you feel about it, but just terrible.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Although, if you go to an office party, you get something that you do not want. I don't mind a regift from an office party. So a $25 limit or something like that. And you just did what you had to do to regift. It's no problem to me.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. So I'll say this. I'm going to say something controversial here. I do not have an issue with regifting, but let me say this. I do have an issue when it is, like you said, a used or old item. So, and actually, you know what? Let me tweak that. Let me tweak that. Actually, I don't have issues with regifting, but as I said, don't have an issue when it is a when it's not an older used item. The only time that I feel like it's okay for it to be an older used item is if it has sentimental value.
For sure, Big Mama's pot. If you was like, "Nah, man, we got you Big Mama's pot this year," and it's like, "Oh, I'm gonna make some greens in there," or something like that. That's the gumbo pot, or something like that.
Or it could be a multitude of things. It could be something that, maybe they no longer use or is no longer of use to them that can still be of use to you. So, maybe it was a musical instrument. Maybe it was a guitar. Maybe it was a drum. Like, maybe that they no longer use in storage, and they're gifting it to you that it's yours. They're passing it down, so to speak, generation to you. Great. Or maybe it is, I know for me, like growing up, my grandmother had an Atari. She never played it, or say she stopped playing it, and so she gave it, like, gifted it to me. Great, fine. Like it was cool to have an Atari. This was before I had a Sega Genesis. It was cool to be able to say I have a system, and then still it was cool anyway because it has collector's value of having an Atari. Um, or if it's like, say if they have like a very old a old bike. Maybe it was a different, a retro bike in terms of how they were made, a retro model, and they're handing it to you. As long as it, rides good and it's in good condition, I'll take it. So I would say when there is thought, if it is an older used item, that there is some thought behind it because maybe there's some sentimental value. If it's not and they're just giving it to you just for the sake of giving it to you, then I agree. And then if it is a new item, then I mean I don't really see any issue with it because maybe it may not mean anything to them or they may not like it, but it may be something that they know that you'll enjoy. So maybe give me an example. Maybe someone is given pods for their birthday. As someone who's older, they don't really care about those items, or they how with a lot of older relatives they'll just give up on using the item because they're not really tech savvy. So
I don't know how to
they'll
work
get
that thing in
yeah,
there.
they'll get frustrated with it and say, "Here, I don't want it." So they'll gift it to somebody else who would appreciate it. So in a case like that, I don't have too big of an issue with regifting when there's thought behind it. When there isn't, that's where I take issue. But maybe you guys feel differently when it comes to regifting. Maybe that's a pet peeve of y'all's too. You can let us know in the comments. But let me see. So that was number 2 for you, Spillz. Let's see. My number 2, and I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of agreement on this, are because being out and about, early Christmas displays. Why are we in Halloween looking at Christmas stuff? Like, can we at least get through Halloween and Thanksgiving before we have to think about Christmas? Why are we getting Christmas stuff as early as September or early as October or even September? I've seen that crime happen of September seeing Christmas stuff. I'm like, we have 2 whole holiday periods that we have. Why are we even thinking about Christmas right now? Why are you this greedy that you're trying to get people in the holiday state of mind when we are nowhere near that period of time? Your thoughts, Spillz.
For sure, the early holiday displays. I saw something in August about Christmas. Why? It's still hot outside. I had shorts on. I was like, I got shorts on. What y'all talking about Christmas for? I think it's a real problem for us all. Forget these people who are gross capitalists and want to have Christmas outside of the time of Christmas and the Christmas. It has a name. It's a Christmas season for a reason, ladies and gentlemen. So to me, I totally agree. These early Christmas displays are harsh. I know obviously they record all the songs in June because you got to master, mix, and distribute those things, but just crazy. Um, you know, Also late Christmas displays. Like, why is your stuff still up in March? Who are you? Unless you little old lady, you've had many a weekend to go and tackle that problem on your house. Go ahead and just take that stuff
I
down.
don't know though. Like I can understand. I can at least understand the late takedown of Christmas stuff. Where if we're really thinking about it, we have Christmas what at the end of the year. As we enter into the new year, it's too cold to take it, to get rid of it in January. It's still cold here in the East Coast in February, so it's probably still sitting around there in February, especially if you have a live tree. For those of you that do a live tree, and then on top of that too, I would also say by the time you get to spring, or starting to enter spring, you're doing a lot of, I guess, a lot of folks are getting into that mindset of spring cleaning. So that's when you are kind of in that mindset, or in that having that patience enough to be able to want to do mass cleaning of what you have in your house. Um, that would be my only indication of that. But yeah, just like I said, just that idea of seeing a lot of Christmas stuff as early as October and September. I'm like, bro, like we have can we do Halloween? I enjoy Halloween. I'm a horror guy. I enjoy Halloween. Can we
You
enjoy
love spooky season,
can,
ladies and
can, can we
gentlemen.
enjoy Halloween? Can we enjoy the feast that is Thanksgiving before we have to, think about Christmas? Christmas is nearly a whole month after Thanksgiving. There is plenty of time to think about the holidays after Thanksgiving. That's all I ask. I feel like it's way too early. Start thinking about it October, September. But maybe you guys like it. For those of you that are the Christmas carolers out there, like,
They
I
start
like the
practice then.
holidays in September and
They say
October.
we gotta sound good.
But all right, drum roll. I'm gonna hand it over to you, Spillz. What is your number one, sir?
So this is something that I didn't experience as a child, but I now experience as an adult. When your job has a cash bar at the holiday party.
Ooh,
Like
ooh,
maybe there was somebody who
ooh,
ruined it for everybody else,
ooh.
but
Yeah, give Spills a second. But yes, go ahead, Spills.
sorry about that, ladies and
You're
gentlemen.
good. Live show, sir. You're good.
Live show, we're dealing with
Anything
everything
can
down.
happen.
Anything can happen. But again, you gotta use the cash bar. We've been working here hard for you, employer, for 364 days. It's 365 now. You're not going to see us on New Year's, so you don't even have to pay for that. You probably don't give us a birthday. You say that's what PTO is for. You can use that paid time off for a birthday. But to
Cash bar?
expect us with the cash bar,
Wow. Wow.
I'm
That's rough.
obligated to be here in the first place, and you're not going to give me any Christmas libations.
Wow. Wow.
For shame.
Wow. That I would have to say for shame on that. I can attest that don't have to deal with cash bar at the work holiday party. It is an open bar. So
I'm not even saying
I'm
no.
like, it's
Don't say.
one day. It's
You
literally
could
one
say
day.
not even an open bar because I can understand the open bar can be kind of crazy. I could say two drink tickets because people got to drive home. You don't want to be liable, all that kind of stuff. But
Yeah,
you
yeah.
should say, hey guys, if you'd like, here are a beverage to show that we care so much about you. There's so many jobs that don't care so much about nobody. I've
Nah, I
worked
hear
many
you. That's
jobs
rough,
that
man.
will
Cash bar.
buy some pizza,
That's
be like, we
rough.
bought y'all some Christmas pizza. Now get out of here with that pizza. Don't even come over here with a Christmas pizza.
They at least have a decent spread, right? Like
Right.
I'm
They decent.
asking. They at
These
least have a
I've
decent spread,
seen
right? They
If
don't
they
have a
don't
cash
have a
bar,
cash
but they at least
bar,
have a
if they have
decent
a cash
spread.
bar, no, there's no spread really.
Oh
I feel
wow.
like with the no cash bar, the
Wow.
holiday party will be a potluck or
Wow.
something like that. Like I'll be like, how did we even got a
Potluck?
yeah, potluck holiday parties. I've seen that before, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow. Wow. That's
Real rough
rough,
out here.
man. That's rough. You living rough, man. No, I was
I've had
saying
many
like
jobs, ladies and gentlemen, many jobs.
I can attest the holiday party that I am able to go to is they have uh, a decent spread. You don't have to pay like a ticket to go to attend because I've seen that too. I feel like that's crazy too, having to pay a ticket to go. That's wild to me. Where like
That's the cash bar,
give
but they
give
just ask for it up front.
give your employees at least one day where they're putting out their effort, their labor to help your organization, as you said, for most of for majority of the year. At least give them that one day where they don't have to like put forth a lot of effort, and that you are putting forth the effort, just for that one day. So I can at least say that you don't have to pay a ticket to be able to go, which is cool. Um, there's a decent spread there, and there's an open bar, so that's cool. Mind you, I feel like if memory serves is for a couple of hours, and it's probably for that same reason that you mentioned, Spills, which makes sense. But still, the fact that's there and that option is there is cool. So yeah, that's wild to me. Like I said, it's wild to me if you have to pay for a ticket to attend, and it's like you said. I have to agree on that number one. That's wild that you pay a cash bar at the holiday party, at the office holiday party. That's crazy to me. Where does it need to go? You should have already provided that, paid for that service. Why do your employees have to cover that service for you?
The job is going to write it off as a business expense.
Hello? Yes. Right. Exactly. And you didn't. I'm like, you didn't make enough off the efforts and labor of all the folks that you have working there that you can't accommodate the one day. So yeah, that's wild. That's wild. If let me know. Let me know in the comments. Like how y'all feel. Do y'all going to holiday parties where there's a cash bar? That's crazy to me. That is absolutely wild to me. But let me see. I gave a tease of this at the top of what my number one is, and talking about Christmas caroling being one particular one. I don't know. This might get a little controversial, so bear with me. But my number one is Mariah Carey.
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if I can continue with this podcast. I know he didn't just talk about my pop princess, Mariah Carey. How dare you?
Let let me explain. Let me
It's time.
explain, sir. Please
Not
let me
yet.
explain.
Not
So
yet.
Mariah Carey is awesome, legendary singer. Love a lot of her songs are amazing. It's just because of this holiday. That song, "All I Want for Christmas," is played far too much, and it drives me up the wall. That one single drives me up the wall. So that's
You
why.
don't like a story of love without material possessions to bring in a season where gross materialism is the goal for most people?
You see what he
Shameful,
did
ladies and
there? You see
gentlemen.
what he did there, folks? You see what
Shameful.
he's doing there? You see that?
She says, I don't
You
want any
see
presents
that? You
underneath the Christmas
see
tree.
that?
All I want for Christmas
Wow.
is you. That's all she wants. You are saying, no, I'm good,
It
Mariah.
just played too
I'm good.
much. It's played way too much.
She's the GOAT.
And going back to my prior pet peeves of, especially in retail where they have the displays far too early. They play this song far too early in the year. So it makes me hate the song even more. I think that it's a combination of all those pet peeves that I've named thus far, all coming to a head at this number one for this one song. It drives me crazy. So that is my number one. And like I said, let me be clear: the artist Mariah Carey is awesome. I love Mariah Carey. It's just what they have managed to do with this one single of hers for the holiday season that I cannot stand. So there you guys have it. Those are top five. If we're recapping what we had going, starting from honorable mention with Spillz, we had combining birthday and Christmas. Yeah, I get it. I can't imagine whether you have a birthday, during the holiday season, whether it's during New Year's. I know some people who have birthday on New Year's Day. That would be crazy to me to have the birthday during that time and during New Year's, where would people necessarily want to do your birthday if they want to go to a New Year's celebration? So I think you're muted. Go ahead. Sorry.
I think New Year's celebration may work. I feel like it's the before Christmases that don't work
Mm.
because people they don't mind. Like you might want to be with your lady, do something else on Christmas. But most of the time, you go, yeah, we go to your birthday party on Christmas. Yeah, we could throw something in the air real quick, pop some bubbles or
Real
something.
quick.
You know, like that's fine. If it's the week of Christmas though, it's like week of Christmas.
So
I don't know.
as I said, that's Spill's honorable mention. Number five for Spill's was fruitcake. I can get behind that. I can't stand fruitcake. It's just the consistency of what you have with the batter of the cake batter that is now baked completely, and then having the soft elements of the fruit within all of that. Ugh,
Yeah.
ugh, gross. So I can get behind that fruitcake. Let me see. Empty, empty seats goes without
Oh
saying.
yeah. I
Bummer.
feel like this one.
Um,
Good job. I didn't want to
bummer.
go that dark, but as soon as you said it, I was like, yeah, that is a pet peeve. Ooh.
Yeah, yeah. Let me see. Spills, midnight mass. I can get behind that based on the time of day. Again, like no issues here with mass. I going on the holidays. I get. I've just not haven't done it. I'm not a big fan of doing it right at midnight. I rather do it later on in the day of that same day. So on Christmas Day, great, but just not at midnight. Or even going on Christmas Eve, great, just not carrying over into midnight. Let me see. My number four, Christmas caroling. I know I'm a Scrooge, but that's the only Scrooge-like thing I have is the Christmas caroling because I feel like it's forced upon you oftentimes when we're talking about that pastime when it comes to the holidays. Spills, the drunk uncle. Yeah, you're gonna have those relatives that are irksome. But at the end of the day, family. So it's sometimes I feel like it's a necessary thing. But I feel like as you get older, you get better about deciding if you're going to do it, put up with that or not. Let me see. Number three, who's hosting? Because I feel like there's so much drama around that emotionally. What do you mean so and so's hosting? Oh, I wanted to host. Or how come they're not coming to my thing? Because I'm hosting. Blah 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 blah. So yeah, I would say the hosting, and then even when it comes to that, like just the other parts of it, logistics. How far is it? Is this one really far? Is this one closer? Maybe I want to go to this one because it's not as far away. There's not as much involved in order to be able to get there. Maybe it's also the aspect of who's going to be there. Like maybe there's some relatives or some friends that you only see a certain time of a couple of times a year, and that's maybe the one celebration that they go to, and it may be affected by the fact that they go to that particular celebration. So that factors into going to that said celebration. There's so many things physically, logistically, and emotionally when it comes to who's hosting. Spills got into this when for his number two, regifting old and used items. Um, I get where he came from with this. I would just say I feel like there's a caveat to that because when we're talking about old and used items, are those old and used items, do they have sentimental value? Maybe they do, in which case I don't have an issue with being regifted with those because there may be a story behind that. Maybe it could be an instrument that that said person had or used to use and they no longer use. Maybe they're gifting you a guitar that they used to play very often, and it meant a lot to them, so they're passing it down to you as a memorable item from one generation to the other. Could be a bike, could be a multitude of things, could be a game system, as I mentioned with my grandparent when we're talking about the Atari that she gave me. So I feel like if there is a clear intention behind the regifted items, it's okay. But when there isn't, and there isn't that element behind it, then yeah, regifting can for sure be an issue. My number two, early Christmas displays. Stores need to stop doing what they're doing with the early Christmas displays. Whether we're talking about seeing Christmas stuff in September, whether we're seeing it in October, enough already. Christmas holidays we know are going to come, so why do we need to be exposed to it almost nearly a couple of months before we even need to start thinking about it? Let me have my Halloween, let me have my Thanksgiving before I even start thinking about the holidays. That's all I ask. And let me see, for Spillz, going into his number one, which, as I said, is wild to me. The cash bar at the office holiday party. When we're talking about office holiday parties, that should be the one day where there isn't anything that you have to concern yourself with being at a work-related event. Like, you shouldn't have to worry about the food. You shouldn't have to worry about the drinks. Like, you shouldn't have to worry about any of that. I feel like that's the one day where the ownership and the responsibility is on that said company to be able to provide that for their workers.
There's
So
literally a word for it, ladies and gentlemen. It's called being a Scrooge.
so cash bar, shame on you. Shame on you if there's a
Shame.
cash bar at an office holiday party. Shame, shame, shame. So, and then my number one, of course, and I say this in all jokingness, of course, Mariah
He's not
Carey.
joking,
And
ladies and gentlemen. That's
because
terrible.
of that all I want to
She's
do,
a
all
Christmas
I want to
institution.
all I want to have for Christmas, or what is the song like? All I want for Christmas is you. Is that song drives me crazy. I know it's well intentioned. I get it, but I don't need to be exposed to it that early in the year. And also, it's played too much. Maybe if it wasn't played so much, I wouldn't have this at the top of my pet peeve. But you guys let us know in the comments, what are your top five? You can let us know down below in descending order from 5 to 1. What is your top 5 holiday pet peeves? I'm curious to see if some of ours match up, or if there's some that we didn't think about or talk about that you guys had to share. But with that, I'm going to punt it over to Spillz. Spillz, can you tell folks where they can find you, sir?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you can find me at Truly Spill on Instagram.com. We can talk about things like why Mariah Carey is a Christmas institution and Brandon's crazy to think that she's not. I
Fair
would love
enough.
to talk to you about that, ladies and gentlemen.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And I'm your host, Brandon Choi, co-creator of Movers and Shakers Unlimited. You can find me at Brandon Choi ENT on X, and then Brandon Choi _ENT on Instagram. With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Be safe out there, and happy holidays, folks. We will be doing at least one more show before it's all said and done of our top moments. So be on the lookout for that next week. But as I said, thank you guys.